Okay, so this is a sequel to a video Jubilee made recently. It was male feminists versus male anti-feminists. Now this is the sequel, female feminists versus anti-feminists.
If you're a woman, you should be a feminist.
Okay, let's answer this one real quick. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist. Okay, let's give a little bit of context here, just a little bit. So, what do feminists mean when we say feminist? And I'm going to keep it like completely broad here. No pun intended. Let's keep it really broad. All feminists, modern feminists, are saying is systemic institutional problems exist that harm women. Like, there are systemic issues that face women, and we need to take measured steps to solve those issues. That's it. So anti-feminists would say, no, there are no systemic issues facing women. Any issues facing women are down to the individual, not at a systemic level. And I vehemently disagree with that. I think there are clear and obvious systemic problems facing women, and we need to make, like I said, measured, sober steps to solve those problems. And the only reason I'm saying any of that is because I want to get laid. No, that's not true. So if you're a woman, you should be a feminist. In that, using that as context, using that idea that like you should be someone who's informed enough and knowledgeable enough to recognize that there are systemic problems facing women, and you should want to take steps to solve it. That if that makes you a feminist, then yes, every woman, every person should want those things, should want to do those things. So with all of that context in mind, I would give this a yes. So here are the anti-feminists, here are the feminists, most likely. That's typically how it is. Left, right. That's kind of how Jubilee does it. So I would guess most of these women move forward, if not all of them.
At the end of the day, it's taking a look at patriarchal systems and seeing the flaws in those systems and how they negatively impact everyone.
Mm-hmm. I pause on that thought.
It's a very good, like I said, sober analysis of it that I didn't get into when I was discussing it earlier. It is part of being a feminist is acknowledging that we do live under a patriarchy that does have negative effects on women and men to an extent, and that we need to take steps to move away from that as well. So that was a very good answer. I'm curious what the anti-feminists are going to have to say.
Greer, step forward.
You don't gotta move.
Define woman.
Here you go. Here's my answer, you fucking dumbass, dude. Come on. God, I hate conservatives. They're so fucking, like smarmy. Define a woman. Like, what are you talking about, dude? You're gonna take the opportunity. It's incredible that the first thing to come out of a conservative's mouth in this video is transphobia. I'm Jack's complete lack of surprise here.
Go, please. It's one of you.
So smarmy, so smug. Oh, you got him. You got him. They have no reasonable answer to this. What is a woman? Okay, Matt Walsh.
Let's make sure to keep it to the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist. Why do y'all
Yeah, also I was thinking about that. That random transphobic interjection had nothing to do with the prompt.
Like, what do Black women gain from feminism? Because I remember even during Black Lives Matter, when I led 2 protests for Black women, and I counted how many white women I saw there, and the ones who were there who were just there to take pictures for social media.
Some random anecdote where she said white women were there to take pictures is why you shouldn't be a feminist, why you shouldn't, what does that mean? You shouldn't recognize systemic inequality against women because there were annoying white women at a protest? Like what like her point was incongruous to the question. Again, like they're not answering the prompt, these conservatives.
People on the feminist side right now are not speaking up for those Iranian women. I have a friend that is trans woman living in Iran right now. It's miserable. Nobody stands up for that poor girl.
As a woman, I particularly
What?
think I'm a humanist. For example, 2 years ago, I was a raging feminist, and I made a decision to pivot my platform, teach Black women how to sit in our feminine energy, because we've never experienced that.
Well, that just sounds like Black feminism to me, teaching women how to do that in the time that we are in now.
But we're not learning fast enough. We deserve to rest, we deserve to relax, we deserve to choose if we want to be a traditional wife. I went from law to being a CEO to now I just want to be a housewife. And every time I say that, I get so much hate. Like, women work so hard to get to this point. Why do you want to be a housewife?
Because that's what you
my
want.
choice.
That's what you want. That's the whole
choice.
point.
Feminism is all about choice.
Exactly. Why can't I?
Yeah, dude, feminists aren't saying you can't be a housewife. All they're saying is you don't have to be a housewife. Like, that is not, should be like the minimum or maximum. That should not be your floor or ceiling as a woman, which is what it typically has been. That's all feminists are saying. So again, like every time a conservative opens their mouth, a straw man just like forces their way out, like a fucking disgusting demon birth. Like, that's all I see. Christ almighty.
Choose. That's the whole point of feminism. It's like, why can I choose? What are you missing in America to claim that you are oppressed as a woman?
Well, we just had our rights to.
Again, what are you missing in America to claim you are oppressed as a woman? How did you, when you ever called yourself a feminist, how would you have answered that? Like, this person claimed they were a raging feminist who led, like, what, 2 feminist marches, she said? Or, like, some kind of march? How would you answer that? The question more specifically, or, you know, being maybe a different way to phrase it, would be, what issues do women specifically face in America? And, like, I said this in my other video, like, who holds all? This is where the conversation should stop and end, in my opinion. Who holds all systemic socioeconomic power in America? Who? It is men. It is white men. So the question is, why? And the question is, should this be how it should be? Is this how it should be? Feminists would say no. Men shouldn't hold the overwhelming majority of all systemic power. There should be more parity, and we should make steps to achieve that parity. But like ask with a straight face, what issues are women facing in America? Really? You're asking this question? That's a stunning question to ask as a woman. I don't know. That's crazy to me. That's a crazy question to ask.
Our own uteruses stripped away.
Well,
by
the right to murder your own baby, though. I mean,
God, no. Oh my God, dude. This is going to be crazy. Holy cow. Okay. Yeah, great point. Like, ignoring the, like, pro-life chick who just said that. Yeah, perfect response to what issues are women facing? But abortion was just made illegal in, like, huge swaths of the country. Like, literally a fundamental right to your existence as a woman is your choice whether or not to be pregnant, and we took that away from you. Asking the question, what issue do women face in America, is psychotic to me.
Equal rights. We want equality as women, of course.
But how can you have equal rights when you can't define the word woman on the far left?
Alta.
Okay. Sorry, I need to get that out. Oh my God. How can you have equal rights if you can't define woman on the far left? I want to know what she means by far left. If she's like Joe Brandon is far left, like, that's always funny to me.
what is the patriarchy?
I don't even know what that men oppress us and like.
That everything that goes wrong, that men are to blame. And I don't think that.
What? Dude. I just wanted to talk about the previous lady, like being in this conversation, and you can't even. It's like the 101 of like debate, and I wouldn't even call it 101 of debate. It's 101 of like being a like informed, well-rounded, knowledgeable person. Excuse me, person is being able to articulate the other side's arguments, even at a surface level, like to say, I'm not a feminist. I don't believe in the patriarchy. And then when someone asks you, what does patriarchy mean? You just say, I have no idea. Well, you should fucking figure it out. And maybe you'll agree with some of these ideas. Like, it's clear the only way to be a conservative is to just be uninformed. Like, that is the reality. That is the, like, meta discussion here. And then this person completely, like, again, straw man, just danced out of her mouth. The patriarchy is blaming men for whenever anything bad happens. That is not what it is. Excuse me. That is not what it is. It is just understanding that, like, we live in a society where men hold all systemic socioeconomic power. Like, that's what it is. It's not like whenever anything bad happens, just blame a random man off the street. That is absurd. And it's like, again, how can you call yourself anything without at least having a surface level understanding of what you're talking about? It's crazy, but like I've said 100 times, like par for the course with being a conservative and having reactionary and conservative ideals. You are just uninformed. No one becomes a progressive, and like I'm a progressive, and I'm a fully informed progressive, and then like you learn more, and then you become a conservative. That never happens. It's always the other way around. I was a conservative, I was a reactionary, and then I learned more. Conservatism is inherently, at least the way that it operates in America, distinctly tied to a lack of knowledge, a lack of critical thinking skills, and or you're just a sociopath. Some people are, like a lot of the political commentators, conservative political commentators, are definitely informed. They are 100% informed, but they are disgusting, horrific sociopaths who can't feel emotion, and are more than happy to help propagate these oppressive systems. But these people are just dumb. This lady is dumb. I'm sorry to tell you. If you're watching this in the future somehow, you are dumb. And I hope someday from someone, it's not going to be me because I'm not a good teacher, from someone you learn something. Anyway.
Very happy to live under this so-called patriarchy.
This word patriarchy, it does not make any sense to me. Women are not oppressed in America.
Patriarchal society doesn't bother me. Like Marilyn Monroe says, as long as I can be all of a woman in it, I am not bothered.
The feminist movement is inherently racist.
Something about her makes me like kind of sus. Like, is she like a conservative commentator now or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Have a very powerful black mother, a very feminist black mother. And I mean, no one wants to say they did life wrong, but she's saying, man, I wish I could have taken care of myself. I wish I could have done this. I love how you get your hair done and you go get makeup done and you're so, and she says it, you know,
What?
like she wasn't there in the household to raise us, like back to motherhood, because she was gone fighting every single day for women's rights.
So, are you advocating that women should be, trad wives? Is that what you're advocating for now? Like, yes, you should have the choice to be a trad wife, and you should have the choice to not be a trad wife. Your mom chose not to be a trad wife. She chose to do all these other things. Are you saying that that is a bad thing because she's a woman? And as a woman, she shouldn't have done that? Because that's what it sounds like to me. So what is she trying to say?
To come home and be exhausted by the time she gets home. And we never got to have a mother,
When I scroll my own...
What does that have to do with feminism or being a woman? Don't men do that? Can't men do that? Should men be the ones who do that? Are you saying that women shouldn't do that? Is that your overall point? Always when there's a good discussion to be
Don't
had.
appreciate all that men do for society.
I mean, I've got a lot to say about this. Feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men are trash. They say they hate men while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for having power and the patriarchy, so they're trying to overtake it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture. But guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man. Women are nurturers. We need men.
It's as simple as that. It's a God-given right for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We need men. It's very simple. We need men to procreate. We need men to provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die. We need men. It's so bad now that they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men and they're like, am I allowed to open the door? Can I not open the door? Can I touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking, they're sweating. And you're just like, be yourself. It's okay. They're so afraid of doing anything wrong.
We need men to go to war.
They're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right?
This person is nuts.
Straight white men. I heard
this
are not the
person
most
is
lonely
fucking
because
insane.
They just creating incels, They don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this trend,
dude?
especially happening in schools right now. There is a trend where they are raising up the girls. Girl power, girl boss, girl this, run like a girl in the best way
You're gonna
possible.
make me vomit.
That's now it's dangerous. It is dangerous because yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do so that men and women do maintain equality. But at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much? Why?
Oh, so she's just like, actually, no. Women are not equal to men. Women are actually worse than men. That is her opinion, clearly. Holy cow.
The only men that feminists like are men dressing as women. And
God, straw man. No. Absolutely not the case with most feminists. The overwhelming majority of people who identify as feminists do not hate men. Do not hate any men. They'll criticize aspects of the patriarchy, but this has just been a rapid fire Gatling gun of straw man arguments that have no basis in reality, no connection to anything real in regard to feminism. And then of course, just any excuse to be transphobic. They're just desperate to be transphobic. This person is just fighting tooth, this person and now this other person, they're just she's the real transphobic one. As soon as this person was transphobic, she's like, yeah, men dressing up like women, that's what trans women are. This is psychotic, dude.
There's a difference between not appreciating men and pointing out the inequities that have been systemically put in place.
Thank you, Alexa.
Favor men,
Exactly.
white men, white straight men. There's a difference between hating men and pointing out that there are inequities.
I want to talk
Exactly.
about this
Done.
concept
Period.
of protection.
What is this conversation, dude? Again, to be an anti-feminist, to be a conservative, you just need to have a completely warped viewpoint that is completely disconnected from any sort of reality, any sort of facts, any sort of critical thinking.
Yeah, I appreciate men that, I love a man that knows his place. Build the house. Yeah, repair that. Because I'm a goddess. If you need to hold your weight in the relationship. I appreciate men. I love men.
What? So a man's place is to build a house? That's not my place. And I don't think that is necessarily something that men should have to do and that women should have to not do. I think that is a not particularly feminist take. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think there's anything inherent to that. To men needing to build the house and you being a goddess. That was kind of sus. That was kind of terrible take. Yeah, no, the last couple 60 seconds have really soured me on AJ.
You know, that's
I agree with everything you just said.
You're agreeing with us.
I agree.
Of course. Yeah. She just said a bunch of like reactionary conservative stuff. So of course these conservatives are like, I actually agree with everything you just said. Because she just dropped like a half a dozen terrible takes. So of course they're like, actually, you gave us an inch, we're taking that mile.
In my household, my mom was so strong that my dad became so emasculated that he cannot do anything. He stopped working. He became just like a couch potato, right? While she just went out there and kill it.
Dude. What is your point? I tell me your point. Do you think this will always happen? Like, if the woman is like the breadwinner or whatever, that the man will just become a couch potato? If a man is the breadwinner, if the man is the breadwinner, are the women in this relationship the couch potato? Again, though, it is back to the root of, I have an anecdote. Here is my personal anecdote. This one data point, this singular data point that I'm using to define my entire worldview. Okay? All the feminists are like, here are the broad, sweeping, systemic, like, issues. And the anti-feminists are, here is an anecdote from my own personal experience that I am using to define my entire worldview. It doesn't work that way. And like the other, like, they're so uninformed, they couldn't even like begin to articulate like key terms in this discussion, like patriarchy. The conservatives here are just, they're acting as conservatives, fundamentally uninformed, like actors. Like, that's all it is.
Powerful.
But the
We're so
idea
strong.
that men are supposed to be the head of the household, do you understand that that is killing men?
that's killing men.
It is killing men.
Well, let them
at an
die, because
alarming rate.
they need to go back to working.
The pressure of it, you mean, right? The
The
pressure?
pressure of it is destroying their mental health. That's why
Let
men are
them
6
die?
times more likely to commit suicide.
Dude, Nike is insane.
We need men. You see how simple that was?
And men can be women these days.
Men can't be.
Let's go! God! Why? Why did you add that? You piece of shit. Desperate for any excuse to be transphobic. No connection to anything related to this conversation. Not a single. There has been no reason, virtually no reason, to interject anything related to trans rights, positively or negatively, up until this point, up until and including this point. It just speaks to like what a gigantic piece of garbage the people on this side, the right side of the aisle here in this discussion are. To where they are just like foaming at the mouth, like to interject their transphobia to anything even remotely related. It's fucking gross, dude. One, like right now, like there's still mostly men in Congress. Like here, let's pull up. It's 3/4 men, okay? In Congress, our elected officials are 75% men. And this gap has been narrowing in the last few years. So like in the last few years, it's been worse than that. This Congress has the most women in it ever, I believe. And that's still only at 1/4 representation, okay? 50% of women in the population, 25% of women legislating. Like, let's look at like when was the first woman even elected to Congress? This is something I should know. Dude. What year do you think she was elected? If you're watching this, post a comment. Don't look it up. Come on, don't look it up. What year do you think the first woman to serve in American federally American politics was. Did you write your comment? Again, this was something I felt like I should know. But I thought it'd be like, I don't know, sometime in the 19th century, like 1800s. 1917. Jeannette Rankin was the first woman elected to Congress from the state of Montana. And as of 2022, she was still the only woman ever elected to Congress from Montana. I don't know how you could hear that fact and think, excuse me, and still say with a straight face that women don't face systemic problems, systemic oppression. Like, even if you're like, okay, but now they do, the effects of this sort of thing are still felt today. The effects of this, like, legal oppression, as it were, are still felt today. Even if you think there's no laws or anything, or like any sort of, like, you know, things like that against women today, which there definitely are, the effects of these former policies are still felt today. But yeah, 1917, she was the first woman to hold federal office in the United States. That's crazy. How did I even get into this? Let's rewind a little bit.
And that's what it's all about. It's your choice.
I want to sort of reverse it and ask you the question. Should there be laws about women's bodies where there was no women involved?
So, that's how we got here. Up until 1917, for the first, 150 years, am I doing my math right? 150 years of our country's existence, it was all men running the show, deciding what would affect women's lives. They had no say in what would affect their lives. So yeah, I think generally speaking, like, flip the question. If you're a man, if you're especially like a conservative man hearing this, like, should, like, a law being passed about men, what if it was like 5 women who like passed the law, or all women, whatever, who passed some kind of law affecting men? Like, all men are required to get vasectomies at age 40. Like, how would you feel about that? Like,
Yet I live here and I choose to live here, and if I have a problem with the laws, then I have the opportunity to move to a different state.
So just fuck all the people who don't have the opportunity to move to a different state.
Everyone
then.
has opportunity to work, to
They
make
don't.
a life for themselves here in America.
They
What I
don't, though.
love about America is that this is the only
God,
place
you
on earth that you
fucking
can work and
dumbass.
achieve based on your merit.
I was raised by a single mom.
Fucking dumbass,
who,
dude.
Didn't have the
Conservatives
support she needed
are
to
so
really
dumb.
mother me. So by
Just
the time I was
so
15,
dumb.
I moved out of her home.
unreal,
And
dude.
I lived with a boyfriend at the time.
Most people don't have bootstraps. You're in America. That's like, this is
the place to do
This
it.
is the place to do it. Find that boots, honey, and put it on.
No.
I want to kiss myself. Do they think every single person born in America has the exact same spawn point? Like the exact same experience, the exact same socioeconomic conditions? No, it's not true. And there are many spawn points, many socioeconomic conditions that are going to like lead you down a path to where you won't be rich and successful, and other people born in spawn points where they will be led down paths where they will be rich and successful. It's a systemic problem. It is not an individual's failing, okay? This is, again, like 101. Like, did Nike ever think this? Or, like, when she was a feminist, when she was leading marches, did she ever actually think this? The answer is no. She's very clearly, like, always been a reactionary, probably a grifter, like I said, and found that this is just the better grift. And of course it is. Conservatism is, of course, the better grift. But there's no way you were aware of the things I just described, these systemic issues, and then you're like, actually, none of that's true. I'm a reactionary conservative now. It just never happens unless you're a grifter.
A friend of mine had to travel across state for an abortion. She had the ability to select between paying for her disability, the things that she needs for her disability, or traveling for an abortion. Like, you guys don't have to think about that.
But that
she
was
has to
her
Decision to have sex.
Oh, you fucking scummy, dumb, disgusting pieces of shit. Oh my God.
Unless it wasn't,
she
then
was
I'm
being
agree.
raped.
No, then I agree with you.
Raped.
Then I agree with you.
Okay,
Well,
I
all
think-
done.
But I
Of course,
shouldn't have to. But I shouldn't have to tell you
God,
that
dude.
story for you to understand that there are certain things that you have not experienced that
Fucking
oppress
scum
other people.
conservatives,
Oh, okay. You're
dude.
just traumatized enough for me to understand that maybe things are hard.
It's a very different experience.
Trans women are women.
We're just going to agree to disagree with that. If you ask feminists at a women's march what a woman is, they can't even define it. How can you protect something and empower something that you don't even know the actual definition
What?
of?
Strawman. Can we get a strawman counter on screen? Like, we're at like 100 quadrillion already. Like, they cannot bring up an argument without resorting to like the strawman fallacy.
I get how feminists always try to tell us how we should live our life. I said I was a raging feminist. She goes, I don't believe that.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Citation needed. Like, you have like the things she said, like, you can't have even ever believed the basic fundamental aspects of feminism or any sort of progressive ideology and say the things this person is saying now. I'm just going to be honest. I could be wrong, but like, I'd be incredibly surprised. And the fact that she's bringing it up, to me, feels like, I don't know, projection's not the right word, but the fact that she feels the need to like double down on this, to be like, no, I actually was a progressive feminist, I swear. If she was in those marches, I'm sure she was, it was from like a grifter level. Like, I'm here, like, she said her parents were already wealthy. Like, she was there to like, yeah, probably a narcissist just grifting, and this is what she's doing now. Yeah, no, but I'm with you. I actually have, they must have cut it out. But yeah, you very clearly were never a progressive. I'm just going to be honest. You clearly were a reactionary from the start. Unquestionably, in my opinion. And if you were progressive presenting, it was for the grift.
That I don't even what you've been saying. I can't see any traces of feminism in
My
what you're
mother
saying.
is literally.
Exactly.
We heard a lot about your
I
mom.
don't give a fuck about your mother, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? You were talking about you, dude. Clearly, like the way this is going, the way that she's like my mother. Yeah. But you think we're stupid?
I am a woman. Looking at me, I am a woman, born and raised a woman. Why are we trying to write women, born biological women?
Let's just steer the conversation away from me pretending I was ever an actual progressive or feminist.
Why are you trying to write us out of history?
You guys keep saying that there's a biological
What?
reality of male and female. Scientists do not agree with you.
Scientists that you choose to agree with. I mean, you can find a study and a scientist to back up.
No, the overwhelming international scientific consensus is on this person's side, their side. I think they say they were an NB or something. Whatever, on this person's side. So whatever that lady just said is incorrect. The like modern consensus is closer to what they're saying.
Up anything you want to prove
Well,
these days.
I choose to do peer-reviewed studies and not ones that are backed by political agenda.
It's not even that. Like, yeah, sure. Absolutely. But people should be citing overwhelming scientific consensus when it comes to this. Rather, like, I'm sure you could find a peer-reviewed study that's like transphobic. Sure. You could find that. Probably wouldn't be hard. But when it comes to scientific consensus, that is what they should be discussing here, which is unfortunate if they're not going to get to that.
And, I think that's also why, with my platform now that I switched from a raging feminist to femininity, which I was, and you can't tell me what I was and who I was. I had the shaved head, the armpit hair, all of it.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. And when I went from that to that, now I teach women how to.
Maybe you did, but it was a grift. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know, cancel me if I'm out of base. I don't give a fuck. Look at how fucking smug this person is, dude. Like, no. You're fucking lying, dude. You're grifting. Like she just said, like, I went from like raging feminist, like it was clearly a grift then, and now you're some kind of grifter now. Like you're some kind of like Instagram conservative influencer now or something. Like it's now become a different grift for you.
The likelihood of trans people assaulting women is so small. Like it's practically
and there's
not.
A reason for
there's
that.
a reason for that.
I agree with that. Actual trans women. My point.
Trans women. Period.
Your point, what, dude? Actual trans women? That there's some kind of epidemic of like people faking being trans to assault women? I said this in a different video, so I won't even get into it. But the idea that anyone's gonna like transition to like have an excuse to like assault women. 2, will even pretend to transition to like be in a bathroom with women. What do you like? What access does being a trans woman really get you to women that you wouldn't have as like just a normal like cishet man? You know what I mean? Like you can still go into that bathroom and assault a woman. If you're a cishet man, like, what are you doing it in public? You're a trans woman going to assault a cishet woman in a public bathroom at like an Applebee's. Like you took all the time to pretend to transition just to assault a woman in an Applebee's. Like, so you could pass as a trans woman, so you could go assault a woman in an Applebee's. Okay, fine. You're not in the Applebee's. It's now like an empty, like I said in the previous video, an empty subway station bathroom. Okay, why did you need to transition? If it's empty, you could just pretend, you could just be a man. You could just stay a man and not have to pretend to be trans, and you could still attempt to assault the woman if you want to. So this idea that men are transitioning or pretending to transition just to get some kind of like hidden access to just further assault women is so fundamentally stupid and not backed by any sort of reality, any evidence, any study, any like singular anecdote of this happening. You could probably find a singular anecdote, okay? But there's like millions of trans people, okay? And even if this happened once, again, like the premise doesn't make sense as I just broke it down. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. Point is, this is an absurd notion that is obviously incredibly transphobic, but like it can be completely deconstructed and broken down with even a modicum of critical thinking.
Period, not actual or inactual.
No, there is a thing. People that are claiming the trans identity but are not trans.
That's against the prompt.
That's true. Men are not.
Who's doing that? What like epidemic of this is there?
90% of sexual assault cases go unreported is because of like roughly the 8% that are reported. Only 2% of them actually face consequences.
And we seem to
I think we all
agree
agree.
that.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees.
Tragic.
Right.
What? We all agree? So like, do women face systemic problems or not, anti-feminists? I need to know. Y'all have been spending an hour arguing that there is no oppression against women, but then anytime they're like, here's the oppression against women, they're like, oh yeah, actually that does exist. I'm so confused, but I'm really not. Like, obviously, to be a conservative, you just need to be stupid or a grifter. And obviously these people are stupid and or grifters.
Right.
Some of my deepest, I honestly would say probably my deepest trauma is actually not my physical sexual assault. It was the manipulation that I faced in the workplace by someone who was not necessarily physical with me, but they manipulated me. They used their power to paint me in a light and push me out of that job that I loved.
I'm so sorry you experienced that.
I agree, like the stats will say a trans woman, which I would say is a man, a trans woman, it is less likely, like very unlikely to attack. But it's not even, it's really kind of the principle.
This is an interesting video. Once again, proving that conservatives are fundamentally uninformed. I want it to be like they're dumb, which you could say that. But ultimately they are uninformed and ultimately, weren't able to articulate their points very well. They resort to strawmen constantly.